Welcome to the Star Podcast.
Whoa. Star Podcast.
Welcome to the Star Podcast, hosted by Nat. Each week, we share tips and stories from safety, trucking, and recruitment, and everything in between. Listen now.
Welcome back to another episode. Today I'm speaking with Bruce Outridge, who is an author, an artist, a podcast host. He does so many different things. He's created comic books. He has taught art. He's just really fun to listen to and fun to talk with. So this episode, he's very excited and he brings a lot of great energy. So I would highly recommend you listen now.
Well, I just want to start off by welcoming you to the podcast. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's great. Congratulations on your podcast, because this is great to see you doing one.
I just want to comment because since this is audio only, people can't see your setup, but it's a little bit daunting because you yourself are a podcaster and you have a very professional, cool looking set. So I just want to make a note of that you're a seasoned professional.
Yes. You know what? It's after a while when you're doing this, we've been doing this 10 years. So when you do this, to be able to just flick a couple switches and have it set up,
Yes.
I bought a 65-inch TV screen 5 years ago just to show logos. I haven't even watched TV on it yet. It's like logos, right? I changed it because I've got different shows.
Awesome. Well, I just hope to get started that you could introduce yourself and share a little bit about who you are and how you got to where you are today.
How long's this show, Leslie? That's what there's a lot going on. So I'll give you the short version. I've been in the trucking industry for 40 plus years.
Wow. Yep.
When I was 17, got into the moving industry, was an owner operator for a couple years, was a fleet supervisor. So I have 25 years in the seat itself. And then I was a supervisor. Today I do media for the industry. We have a podcast that's been running 10 years, Business and Careers. Have an internet radio station, which is the trucking music and the entertainment side. And then we do event coverage at events, and we handle event coverage for a lot of the associations in Ontario here.
Very cool. Yeah, I think I was listening to your podcast, which is the Lead Pedal podcast, and we'll share all the links and everything to that at the end. But I was listening, you were at the PTAC conference?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were featuring Sam Clark, who's with Nat Group. She's an account manager. So that was cool just listening to that. So that's part of your podcast as you go to all these big transportation and trucking events and cover those?
Yeah, and it started, when I started this, Leslie, 10 years ago, I had one microphone. Not this microphone. I had the cheap $20 microphone. And I didn't even know what I was doing. And you've probably experienced this when you're starting. You don't your voice, you realize you've got all these ums and all this stuff that goes on in the background that you don't realize till you listen to it later on. But over the years, so I just keep getting a better piece of equipment. Then I bought a camera. Then I bought this. And then when I started the radio station, I got into DJing, and we do DJing at the truck shows. And so now I've got speakers, and now I've got mics. I've got 8 mics when I only need one, but people have panels. So it just keeps growing and growing, and it's not planned, but I'm the kind of person that I go, okay, if I'm going to invest in this, and I've never lost money investing in equipment, if I'm going to invest in this, how can I get the best use of it? So I bought this $5,000, video camera years ago, and paid for itself many times because I go, okay, now I've got a camera that someone else doesn't have. And it started out of a client that before I was even podcasting, I was doing some work with them as far as consulting and helping owner operators. And he said, that's when social media was starting. He says, I want you to videotape all of I said, all I have is a phone. And I said, I can't go into a phone because everybody can do that. They won't need me. Now they can do that with a phone. But I went out and bought this camera. It was not the same one. I bought a smaller one, and then I've upgraded. But since then, it's just taken off. And, again, I like to interview people like you. So it's great to be able to do that at events and carry that on.
Oh, that's amazing. So that was one of my questions, was if you can share a little bit about your own podcast and how you started out. I know you mentioned that briefly, but is there anything else you can add to that?
I don't know how much you know of me. You might be scared to know a lot. So I'm a professional cartoonist. I don't know if people know that. I'm a caricature artist. What you do I do that for weddings and corporate events. So I was in the seat. I was a driver. I became the supervisor of a fleet, and I did that for about 3 years. I thought I was going to be the supervisor of this fleet for Canada. That's where I was going. That I wanted to kind of get out of the truck. I got bored. I found it around after 25 years, even though I enjoyed driving and enjoyed the trucks, I kind of got bored. I was kind of, I don't want to say I'm at the top. I was at the top of my game. I felt at where I was. I had the nicest equipment. They let me kind of do what I want. But I'm going, am I just going to go up and down the road for the next at that time I was 35 years old, 32 years old.
Right.
Am I just going to do that for the next 25 years? That seemed kind of, I'd already done all that. So I wanted to get out of the seat, get into management. I didn't have the schooling because I dropped out at high school. So I had to go back and take some adult courses, adult school. But then I quit. I just had enough of managing people is not my strength. Entrepreneurship is my strength. So I quit. I said, I'm going to start an art business. If you want to know what the conversation's like with your wife when you have a 6-figure job and you say, I'm going to become an artist, you can. I don't have to even tell you the details. I'm sure in your mind you're already going, that's not going to happen. But it did. It did. I started that in 2006. And I did. I said, if I could work that hard for somebody else, I'm going to do it for myself. So I started my art business. A couple years down after doing the art business, I go, I have 25 plus years of trucking experience. So I started working the circuit as far as being a speaker on stage, would go and help. I was working with a lot of the schools. I was doing some training for some of the schools. You guys would know the schools, same TTSAOs, some of the TTSAO schools. And I was going around training and speaking on stages. And I'm really passionate about business and careers. Because I'm that high school dropout, I go, I want people to know you can do it. You can have a great career no matter what it is. And trucking is a career if you're willing to put in the work. If you think it's just going to be handed to you, that's not how it works. So I said, I want drivers to have a good career. I've worked for good companies and made good money. I want the drivers of today to know that there's places you can go. And so I started doing that in 2009. That's when I kind of started. And then I was going to do video. And I thought, okay, video was getting hot. Remember video training probably about 10 years ago? Everybody was doing video.
Yeah.
And I was going to do a video series. And I said, well, if you're driving up and down the road, you really shouldn't be looking at video. So I didn't know anything about podcasts, but I there's a guy named, I don't know if you know this guy, Pat Flynn. He's one of the gurus of podcasting. Smart Passive Income is his podcast. Mm-hmm. I found that podcast by accident, and I remember laying all night in bed listening to every episode of a podcast and what it is and all of that. And that's when I bought the first mic, and from there we've just gone on. So that's how I got into it. I didn't know what I was doing. But if you look at it, I used to draw on my books in high school, and I used to get detentions. Okay, now I charge $100 an hour to do that. I was the loudmouth in class. I was always that guy in the back of the class. Hey, always got some smart aleck comment. And here I am. So, for those of you that maybe in school not really agreeing with what's going on, there is a future.
That's so interesting. And I actually had a question that you were a caricature artist, and I just was interested how you went from just deciding one day that you were going to do it. I know you said you doodled a bit in high school, but were you into art and then you thought, yes, I want to do this full time, or how, what was that transition?
Yeah, you just go from trucking to drawing all the time. That's how
Yeah.
I went, I tell people I like the 3 Ds: drawing, drinking, and driving. Not necessarily in that order, make sure it's in the right order.
Yeah.
But I was drawing since I was 10 years old. I used to draw cartoons. You're not old enough to know this, but back in the day, you would take a bus transfer, and on the bus transfer to go from one bus to another, I was in Mississauga at the time, there was a cartoon on each transfer. I would take all the transfers home and copy the cartoons. That's how I learned. I taught myself to draw too. But in school, everybody said, go get a real job. They didn't say, go find out how Norman Rockwell became. And when I look back, when I was 13 years old, I was a drummer in high school, internet radio station. I was drawing on T-shirts for my friends in marker. They'd say, hey, Bruce, do a design on my T-shirt. I didn't know you could have a T-shirt business. I didn't even think about the production side. I was just drawing in a marker. So I was already doing this. Put it aside for about 18 years when I went driving. So I was trucking. I didn't even think about art. I didn't do it on the road or anything. Went through a divorce in my 30s. And for the guys, there's 2 boxes you get. One has pots and pans, and one has every little thing that you've had. My sketchbooks were in that other box. And I started just to get through the divorce. I went through all of that, and I started redrawing again and teaching myself to draw. And somebody else who's been supportive, and we've been married 24 years. But I put out a comic book series. So I was doing landscapes. That's what I was actually doing. And I'm going to start an art business. Had art shows and all of that for a couple of years, drawing the neighbor's dog, all those kind of things that you start when you're starting. And then I decided I'm going to do it full time. So I started teaching art. And in 2007 or 8 or something, I put out a cartoon series for kids called The Pride Junkie. The Pride is an acronym. I can't remember, but it's respect, integrity, dignity. All those lessons were in each story. The hero was a truck driver because he had to move around. And I thought putting a skull on the comic book would be cool. And so the idea was that the truck driver's son passed away, and now he's going around helping all the other youth. It sounds silly the way it does, and I mean, I did 3 issues of that, but it took 6 months every so I stopped. But I've had a television show for youth on inspiration. I have a podcast and a television show for artists on how to business. So all of that stuff is inside me, and it's coming out in different ways. And a lot of people I know are like that, especially truck drivers. We all think they're just truck drivers. I know so many that are photographers, songwriters, whatever. Everybody has an inside talent. Some are afraid to use it or don't think they have the time or it's not worth the time. Others actually, I put it out. If I don't sell anything, hey, no big deal. At least we've tried. And at least I could say I've got a comic book. But that went into the caricature part. And that's how I started getting asked for caricatures. I was teaching kids cartooning. People go, can you do a birthday party? I kept saying no. And finally I said yes one day. And now that's a big part of our business.
Oh, that's so cool. I love all of that. And I agree. I think everyone has some sort of little creative thing in them, whether it's cooking or like just expressing yourself in some way. So I absolutely agree with that. I hear people say, oh, I couldn't do that. I couldn't paint. Yes, you can. Just try and maybe you'd really love it. Oh, that's so interesting.
I feel bad for the people who wait until retirement to start this stuff because older, my wife is older, we're starting to have health challenges as we go along, and you cannot always do that. I always tell people, start it on the side. You don't have to be professional at it, but start at the side. One day it will turn professional and you'll be way down the road than if you try to start when you're 65 and start doing stuff like that,
right, absolutely. Oh, I just love that. That's so very interesting. You've led a very interesting full life.
Hopefully I'm not done yet, but I'm getting close to.
No, it's just very interesting. So one of my questions was, what are you most passionate about, like speaking? And I know that your podcast is about transportation and trucking, but is there one subject that really lights you up more than others?
I think just the maybe not a subject, but the phrase, you can do it. Like, it doesn't matter what you're doing. I've told my son, you want to dig a ditch? I don't care. I'm not judging your career, but just dig the best ditch you can. Like, be the best ditch digger. I don't even know what that is. Anyway,
yes.
But same like truck driving, right? If you're going to be a truck driver, be the best truck driver you can be. Don't be one of these people that are kind of slouching. People go into your training. I know your guys' training school very well. I've actually been up speaking on my book years ago at your school. So I know your school. I know Kevin and the team very well. You guys have a really good brand. So somebody goes through that school. If they're going through halfway just to get the marks and just to get through, they're actually cheating themselves. If they actually take the notes and listen and ask the questions, when they come out, they're going to be so strong that they won't have to look for a job. The jobs will look for them. And I've never actually looked for a job. I go to these job fairs. I've never walked around a job fair for if you've got a good name in this industry, people will be calling you. They'll be headhunting you all the time, even as drivers. So at the school, there's people watching your guys' school right now who are the top 5 people coming out of that school, no matter what the course, and they're already looking at them. They may not say anything. They may not be contacting you, but they're keeping an eye on that. And if the students don't understand that, they're cheating themselves of some of probably the best work that they can get.
Well, I love your attitude, and I can see why you've never job hunted, because you just have like a very exciting, you're so positive, so I can see why people are probably just drawn to you.
Should I go get my wife, Leslie, so you can hear the real story? Because there's a whole story, the whole positive thing, just for camera. No, I enjoy people, so I try to have fun with people, and I enjoy that. I have my days like everybody else. I'm not perfect by any means, so I don't want to think I'm always positive, and this is just, but I love doing this. Like, I actually love doing this, and every year we go, do we continue doing this for another year? And every year I go, yeah, I love doing it, Do I have to make money at it? Yeah, because it's a lot of work. You know that, right? There's a ton of work behind the scenes that people, but I actually enjoy doing this, and I keep getting better every day by doing it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Where can people find out more about you? Is it your website? Like, where's the best place for people to find you?
We have 5 websites for our business alone. have social. I'm on every social, multiple pages. So probably the best way for people to learn about the podcast is go to leadpedalmedia.com. That's one. There's one. And then from there, you go to the radio station, the podcast, and all that other stuff. If you want to just Google Bruce Outridge, my artwork will come up and whatever else I'm doing at the moment. It's fun. But I enjoy don't you? I get bored easy. I don't know about you, but I get bored easy. If I have like one, even to do a book, I've been asked so many times to illustrate, that's going to take me 6 months. Man, I don't even want to put that energy. I like to do a project, get it done in a week, and then move on. You know, I doing that. I stuff that's really going to take. We're 5 years. We're going to build this thing. No, you're not with me. You're not. You know, like, well, let's do it for a year. And I've never been really good at. I've never really been good at planning. Like I plan. I do a lot of goal setting and planning. But when I started the podcast, I had no idea. And if you go back to episode 100 of the podcast, listen to episode 100, I actually quit on air. So so this is what happens when you listen to the gurus. The gurus say you must do this every day. I came out of the gate doing a daily show. All right. So a daily podcast, not knowing anything about podcasting. I come out and do a daily podcast. I get to 100 episodes in like 6 months. And I'm like, wow. And they say you got to have all this engagement, and how come you don't have comments, and why are people not, you know? So I had nothing. It's crickets, right? 100 episodes, just doing my thing, solo episodes, a guest once in a while. And I don't hear anything. And I go, nobody's listening to this stuff. Like, why am I putting this kind of energy? No sponsors, nothing, right? We didn't have sponsors for the first 2 years we did. And then at 100 episodes, you'll hear me on air going, you know what? This isn't happening. It's really not good. I'm going to shut down the show. And I shut it down, and I started getting comments. People are like, oh, no, we're listening. We really enjoyed the show. And I go, well, why didn't you say that for the last 100 episodes that I just did? So in the episode, I think I changed it. Like, I didn't take it down because I think it's kind of funny. I tell everybody, go to 100, I quit. I went, well, this is the music episode, and we're back. And so what I did is, instead of doing daily, and this is my problem, is I follow the gurus. I listen to all the gurus of the world in that space. And I do what they say, and then I go back and I go, that's not working for me. So at that 100 episode, I said, you know what? I can't do 100. I can't do a daily show. I don't even know enough for a daily show. So I said, I'm going to do, I think we went to 1 episode a week at that time. So we started 1 episode a week. So we're doing 4 episodes a month now instead of, 30. And as we got sponsors, as it built, we did that for a couple of years, and then I started getting sponsors, and then so now I said I'm going to do it. So now we're back up to a daily show today. We're a daily show today. I do 3 episodes a week at the podcast, and then there's video versions on the other days. So every day there's new content coming out. But now I've got it on a schedule. I can handle it. I've got a reason to be doing it, and a format for doing it. So be careful who you listen to, but I don't have this all planned out. And then every year, like I say, I go, is this working? Do I still enjoy doing it? We're 10 years. At 10 years, I'm thinking people have heard enough of Bruce. Like, I know my wife has. She goes to the watch. Oh my God, he's talking to himself. She used to go, who's he talking to? And it was me. So we've now I've got a system and all that stuff, so it works. But, just do what you can do. If you can do 1 a month, do 1 a month, and just do it as you enjoy it. And that way it'll last longer, and you'll get it going the way you want. And as businesses change. People who plan it out and then stick to that thing. Most podcasters don't get past 10 or 25 episodes. We're at 1,475 right now. So,
wow.
That's dedication right there, right? So
that is a daily show would be a lot. Yeah, that is some dedication. So hats off to you. That's amazing. 1,400 episodes.
I get a lot of content from the events. I can interview 5 people. I can get a week's worth of content just from going to one event. So I go to a lot of stuff, which is where I get a lot of my content. And I just love being everywhere. I like I'm still like a kid in a candy store with a new Peterbilt,
Well, it's been awesome sitting down with you and just hearing your enthusiasm and passion. And I hope everyone takes away from that to just try to be the best person that you can be, whether you are digging a ditch or you're starting a podcast or whatever it is that you hopefully find your passion and you can do it happily. So I'm going to put all of the links. I'll try to get all of the links to all your different things, but especially your media so that people can check out your radio and podcast and your caricature business. So sure. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on, Leslie. And a big shout out to the team at NAT. I've known Kevin, Brian, and Sam and the rest of the team for a long time. They've always been, upstanding people, and you guys are one of the great schools up there, and you're always supporting the industry. So thanks for all you guys do, and keep up the good work.
Wow. Star Podcast.